Okay, I said in the ship video that I would tell you the tale of the reason why I ended up with a visitor's visa to the UK instead of a spousal visa. So, way back in, I think, August, uh, David and I applied for my marriage visa. And the rules are that you cannot apply from within the country. You have to fill out a bunch of paperwork. One question of which is, when are you going to the UK? Um, and then a whole bunch of questions about whether you're a terrorist and or not, hopefully, and how are you going to support yourself? Because one of the weird things about the UK is that a marriage visa does not allow you to work. So, like in the US, when I got David's green card, he could work right away. I cannot. And I don't know what the passage of time is, if I have to come and be in a marriage visa and not work for 2 years or what. I don't know, because our goal was just to get the marriage visa. You also have to pay $2,500 to pay for your insurance in the National Health Plan. And that is forever. That just gets you into the system. So anyway, so we applied to our system, and once we got through all the paperwork, which there was a lot, and all the questionnaires, we were then told that we needed to go to biometric meeting and make an appointment. So we make our appointment. And the biometric service is a commercial subcontractor that many governments pay to use, or they get a cut or something, where you go into the office and they do your fingerprints and then they package all your stuff up and mail it off to the government. In Oregon, they said there was a location, but it turns out that that location was a WeWork facility downtown. And so when I made my appointment, I went 2 weeks later, and when we were in there, I just walked into a WeWork place and nobody was there, and they weren't there yet. They showed up later, and we all waited. And there was somebody that looked like they were from either Pakistan or some other country in the Middle East. There was me. There was another couple sitting and waiting. And it was just this guy rolls in and he goes to a desk that he's renting and sets up his stuff. And I waited my turn. Now, this all felt super sketchy. It's like, really? This is a real location? It's not a government office. It's nothing like that, it was weird. David came with me. So then when it came time to get my biometric appointment, David could not go in the room with me. I had to go by myself. So I go in there and they look at all my paperwork. I needed my passport and I don't know what else I needed. And then they took my fingerprints and took my picture and bundled it all up. And then at the very end, he goes, all right, and then I need your passport. So I'm like, oh, I have to give you my passport? And he took it and he says, this is going to take 6 weeks. Well, we were leaving in October at that point. There wasn't 6 weeks left. So I'm like, okay, but you're in the middle of the whole thing going on. And he said that, but then I was like, what? And I didn't say anything. I just let him keep the passport. I wish David had been in there with me, because he would have said, no, 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 no. We might need that passport. But I didn't. So we left. And I went through the whole process. And after we got to the second level of questions, it finally said, you do not need to have tickets purchased. So, of course, we bought our tickets based on what we thought it would take. It didn't say anywhere that it was going to take a long time. Once I got home and I could actually log into the system after the biometrics, there was a line at the very top that said, you do not need your tickets. And I'm like, well, crap, we already have them. To get an ETA, you have to have tickets. So we were used to that being a requirement. So we went home and we waited, and then we finally says, all right, we're going to have to change these tickets, because we were supposed to be on the October ship across. So David called them and they charged us $150 to change our tickets to December. I think it helped that December was not the most popular time of the year to go on the cruise. And then I went in and changed the plane tickets to New York, and I saved $150. So I've got $150 credit on my United stuff. So it was a wash. And we're like, well, okay, we wanted to leave before the middle of December, but can't be helped. Fine. So we wait and we wait and we wait and we wait. No passport comes back. No notifications from the country. I kept logging into this one very difficult place to log into, and nothing. They said nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And then about 4 days before our December trip was announced, what we had to go, or we were leaving, and I still had no passport, we called the UK government and said, "Hey, I've applied for this marriage visa." And she basically said, "It's not going to happen. 16 weeks. No, 12 weeks. And you've got a week left. It's not going to happen." And then weirdly, that afternoon, after I talked to her on the phone, I get finally an email that says, "Hey, we are good with your application except for this one thing. Please send us evidence that you are in um, a supportive marriage with your spouse." I assume they thought that people get married just to move to the UK, but I don't know how because I can't get a job. So unless I'm really in a marriage, I don't know how that would work. He'd have to support me, maybe if I'm wealthy enough. Anyway, I was a little irritated. So I drafted a response and hit reply. However, thankfully, because I didn't write a very nice response, that didn't go anywhere. It went into a mailbox that isn't answered. So I kind of left it there. It's in my sent box, but it didn't actually go to the UK government. They may never let me in if they read what I said. Because what do you say? We've been married. It asked me questions like, when you have a long time apart from each other, how did you cope? Please send us text messages of your courtship. We've been married for 25 years. Our courtship now in text messages is, "Please pick up the milk," or "What the hell are you doing? Get down here." There's no romantic chit chat anymore, especially via text. So, so that was an issue. We've never been apart. We've been apart at most for 2 weeks when he went on business somewhere. And then, and we've lived together. And then we have a child together. And that child is 24 years old. So it was a bizarre question. I did not respond to it because at that point I was like, all right, this isn't going to happen. So we tried to contact the agency that went to WeWork that had possession of my passport and could not contact them. Of course, this was like the day before Thanksgiving. So I called on Wednesday. They didn't answer the phone. I called on Friday, which is not a holiday. They didn't answer the phone. I emailed. I got no response. So we finally just were like, yeah, we have to just go. So we went up to Seattle, and I had to go to the U.S. passport agency, report my passport stolen, and get a new one so that we could get on the plane to New York in time and get an ETA so that I could be a visitor in the UK. So, by the way, the ETA was granted in like 4 minutes. And I had to get my passport. I had to actually have it in my hands. And I had to go home. I tried to do it in the car like right away so that I'd have a few days before we got on the plane. But I had to take a photo of myself live with in the car, and I couldn't do it with the car seat behind me. I had to find a blank wall, and you can't do that in the car. So I had to wait till we get home, and then when we got home, I did all of it. I applied, and then 3 minutes later, I had my ETA, and it was fine. Didn't even make a piece of paper. It was like, it's electronic. You've got an ETA. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And I think they even sent it in the chip in my passport because I didn't have to take anything out or anything. They just says, okay, you're fine. So lost my passport for several months. It made me a little nervous because I always have carried my passport, and the whole ICE thing is all right in my neighborhood. And it has made me nervous. Like, if I ever get pulled over, I need evidence that I'm a citizen. I have sort of rebelled against the real ID because I always have a passport. So I don't have a real ID. They would haul me in, probably. My pale skin is one benefit that I have that a lot of my neighbors do not have, my friends and neighbors. But I do not feel comfortable not having my passport. So now I have it back. without a glitch. Everything was fine coming on the boat until we got to David's little problem. So when you register for your boat tickets, you're supposed to put in your passport number and all that. And David did that. He was in charge of the boat. I was in charge of the plane. And he entered all of our information, our biometric information and our ETA information. And he put in his, what did he put in? He put in first his passport, but then they wanted his visitor's visa to the UK, which he no longer has because he's a dual citizen. So he's like, I don't know what to do. So then he called them and they says, oh, just put in your US passport. So he did. Then we showed up to get on the boat and they couldn't cope with the fact that he was a US passport and didn't have an ETA. And so we get to the desk. I hand mine over. My ETA is fine. He hands his over and his UK passport. And the woman says, oh, I'm sorry. We're going to have to take your passport. And he didn't get it back till the end of the boat trip. It was great. He goes, I said, now you know what it feels like. But he at least has a spare. I don't have a spare. Anyway, so no glitches. We're here now. The issues now that are the result of that are that I did not pay, or they're going to refund my medical national health top-up. So I'm here with no insurance. None, nada. I've looked up. I can still register with the local doctor. It will cost me £45 a visit. That's a lot cheaper than home. It was $145 to visit my nurse practitioner. Now it's going to be $45 pounds a visit. I'll have to pay for all my meds. We'll find out how much that is, and I'll definitely let you know because I have a feeling it's going to be way cheaper. We've already, both of us are taking tirzepatide, David and I, and we've been paying for it out of pocket. We've been paying like $800 for, he just walked in, for 4 weeks. And we've already looked into it a little bit, and it's £149 for 4 weeks. So that's about $200 around there for 4 weeks. So a fourth of the price, which is quite nice. So if all my meds are a fourth of the price, it'll be pretty sweet, even paying out of pocket. David's mom did say if we had to go see a private doctor, that it would be over £100. So that would be more like US prices. What else have been the consequences of the fact that I'm a visitor? Oh, I can't get a bank account. It would be hard anyway. So because we're living with David's mom for a while, we've had some trouble becoming a real person in the country. I can't be a real person in the country. I got no address anywhere. I'm a visitor. I'm not allowed to get anything. David did manage to get a bank account opened up, but they did give him grief. And she basically said, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get this bank account because you don't have evidence. But she went ahead and let him apply online, and they gave him the bank account. So he has a bank account. I am not a part of that bank account. So I have a U.S. bank account. The other issues we've had are our phone numbers are still U.S. phone numbers, and there are a lot of businesses that will not let us use both our credit card from the U.S. or confirm with our U.S. phone number. We have to have including the phone company. So today, David tried to get cell phones that were UK cell phones, but we needed a UK cell phone number to get a UK cell phone, and we couldn't. Last time we were here, we tried to get train tickets, order them online. We couldn't because we didn't have a UK phone number, so we had to go in person. We tried to get a cab, but we couldn't because we didn't have a UK phone number, so we had to call the taxi company. And then it was difficult. It worked out in the end, but everything's a hurdle unless you have the UK phone number and a UK bank account. You can't get any of those things unless you have mail coming to an address that is real mail, or a driver's license. David's driver's license is expired, so he has to get that again, which means he has to take a written test. We have no mail at David's mother's house. The woman at the bank said you need a electricity bill or a phone bill or the taxes from the council or so on and so forth. Well, David's mother's been on that for years. We're not on that bill. Even if we were to pay part of it, we still aren't on the bill. So it's a bit of a hurdle. We'll get there eventually. It would have been much easier if we'd rented a house, but this is comfy and fine. And a lot of the reason we're here is to hang out with David's mom. So that's fine. And she's happy so far. But you need an address to get an account, but you need an account to get an address. And you can't have both or either. So it's tough. I did try to get a library card online. I failed at that. I'm going to have to go in person. And that's basically what we did last week, and then had Christmas, and we've kind of been chilling ever since. So, yeah, it's been a fun week. As far as hurdles go, other hurdles, when I got here, I was supposed to be over my jet lag. I sleep 11 hours every night, and then I was taking a 2 to 3 hour nap every day. So I don't know if I just sort of robbed myself in the run up to moving. I was just so stressed out that I needed to make up the sleep, or I just was jet lagged or what. I don't know. But I have been awake with no naps for 2 whole days now. Isn't that spectacular? Okay, that's all it for now. I've got 2 videos racked up for you. We're going to talk about the cost of groceries. We went to the grocery store today, so I have prices to share with you. And then there is the sock machine. I bought a sock machine for David got me a sock machine for my Christmas present. It's an old Griswold sock machine, and it's not easy. It's very difficult to run. I have not mastered it yet. When I get a sock out, I will definitely bring you along and show you how to do it. It's difficult right now, though. Both of us are studying it, but we are going to go off to a conference in March. Okay, that's it for now. I've talked your ear off for 17 minutes. That's a long time. I'll come back again and try to bring you good stuff from the UK. Bye.